Hi guys, it's Miss Simon. So I wanted to help you guys out today with this video for science. So yesterday you guys watched your Edpuzzle video of the lesson, and it was all about that physical property we call solubility. So remember, if something is soluble, it means it can dissolve in something else. So when we have these soluble things, we have solutions, okay? So when something can dissolve in something else, we call that solubility, and it makes solutions. Yesterday, we talked about mostly liquid solutions. We discussed solid and gas solutions, but we focused on liquid solution, okay? Remember, we talked about how the ocean, and any ocean, is a giant saltwater solution, okay? So we're going to move on from that today and talk about what exactly makes up a solution. A solution has two parts, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let me share my screen with you. All right, so remember, make sure you have your notes, and anything I highlight you need to write down as well. So solutions. In all solutions, there are solutes and a solvent. Okay, so go ahead and write that down. In all solutions, there is a solute and there is a solvent. Okay, those are the two things that makes up solutions, solutes and solvents. The first one we're going to talk about is solutes. The solutes are the substances that are being dissolved. So the thing that is actually, in a sense, disappearing, okay? The thing that is going into the other, okay? So the solute is the thing that is being dissolved. Okay, the solvent is the substance that does the dissolving. Okay, so let's look at the example from yesterday. We talked about salt water. Okay, the solute would be that salt, because that is the thing that is kind of disappearing in a sense. The solvent would be the water, because the water is what is doing the dissolving. All right, now I'm sure some of your parents, and I do too, have contact lenses, okay? So if we look here, this is a solution that your parents use, okay? The solute, the thing that is disappearing, is all this protein buildup on their contacts, okay? So the solute would be that protein that's disappearing, okay? The solvent is that contact solution. That's what's doing the dissolving. So those protein in that buildup of stuff disappears, while the solvents, the contact solution, actually does that dissolving. All right, moving on. So let's practice. In the saltwater solution, salt is the what? Solute or solvent? You said solute, you are correct, because that is the thing that kind of becomes into the water, so it kind of disappears. Water would then be the solvent, because it is what does the dissolving, okay? As you're thinking, kind of think of it more examples. So for example, that we talk about like Kool-Aid in water, okay? So that powder, that Kool-Aid powder, would be your solute, because that's the thing that is dissolving. And the solvent would be the water, because that's the thing that's doing the dissolving. All right, which of the following sentences is true of a sugar-water mixture? Choose all that apply. The sugar is the solute and the water is the solvent. The sugar will dissolve in the water. The sugar does not dissolve in the water. A solution is made. The solution will be solid. The sugar and water will keep their same properties. So I'm going to give you a hint. There are 4 things that are going to be correct here. So take a second and choose which 4. Okay, if you said A, B, D, and F, you are correct. Okay, the sugar is what's being dissolved, so it's the solute. The water is doing the dissolving, so it's the solvent. We know that sugar does dissolve in water. Okay, so it does make a solution, and the sugar and water, as we learned yesterday, are going to keep their same properties. Okay, so again, that should have been A, B, D, and F. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about today is something we call the universal solvent. Okay, water is known as a universal solvent. Go ahead and take a second and write that down. Why water is a universal solvent is because more substances can dissolve in water than in any other chemical. So more solutes can dissolve in water than any other chemical. And that's why we'll be using water in all of our activities that we do in class, because it can dissolve more things than any other chemical. So make sure you have that down in your notes. So you want to complete an experiment to see if a substance will dissolve. Which of these substances should you use as the solvent? Syrup, vinegar, water, or oil? Well, as we just learned, if you chose water, you are correct. Again, because it can dissolve more substances than any other chemical. So you should always use water. All right, so that is it for the lesson for today. Make sure you answer those Edpuzzle questions, and I'll see you later. Bye.